In studio, we have wrestling legend Kevin Von Erich. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Great to be here.
I love it. Now, you and my co-hosts were just bonding over the University of North Texas, and your grandson and his son both having interviews or like going up there in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, how about that? We're just talking about that.
Yeah, here's what's even crazier. Way back in the day when we were a night show, your sons came up to be on the show, and that was the first time I met them. And they were talking about being in Hawaii, and I was like, "Hey, me and my wife are thinking about coming to Hawaii," and they were like, "You can stay with us." And I was like, "What?" So if that had happened, your grandson and my son might have been best friends going to UNT together. So
maybe so.
We also encourage Corey to actually send a text and not just show up at the house and just give him a heads up. Now, I know we've got a lot of ground to cover, including Collision tomorrow at the Esports Arena, and already a great hook for that. Tommaso Ciampa showing up on Dynamite on Wednesday. He's going to wrestle Mark Briscoe for the TNT Championship. I'm excited about that, but I wanted to talk about a whole nother other event first, if we can. We've had you on the show several times. I don't know if I've ever asked about this. If you could walk us through just y'all putting together that original Parade of Champions event in '84, which I know obviously turned out to be the memorial event for David. Like, what an undertaking that was, and what that day was like for you.
Yeah, well, let me see. The show was, how long after Dave died was that? The show was?
Yeah, it was within like a month or two, right? I thought it was pretty darn quick.
Because I remember putting the show together, and then Dave died, and we changed everything. And, that was tough. We were really close. And I don't, we're at drive time, and I don't want to bum anybody out, But I mean, I love my brother so much. We all loved each other so much. And that was really tough to switch everything and go with kind of a funny story with it, though, that, I always picked our music.
Okay.
And Kerry kind of resented it because Kerry had great taste in music, and he picked Tom Sawyer, which was a great song.
Yes, it is.
And so Dave was coming up, and Dave said, "No, I'm going to pick my own song." I said, "Dave, remember now, you need that interesting sound and that crescendo and for the lights and all that." And he goes, "Yeah." And he picked Tanya Tucker, Texas When I Die. Oh, God.
well, it's a good song. Different sound.
But the first words out of when the record starts, "When I die, I may not go to heaven."
Wow, that's fascinating.
Man.
Tanya Tucker, though, you know what I'm saying?
I do. I could see how that might not like lend itself totally to the wrestling audience and whatnot, but maybe. So in the co-main, you get to team with Mike and your dad, and then that's followed up with Kerry winning the world championship. Like, you talk about that level of emotion of sadness to, I imagine, a lot of family jubilation in those back-to-back matches.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you what, though, when it's over, you're exhausted, But and there was a lot of jubilation. That was so great if Kerry won that title like that. And then to have a tag team match, Mike and I with Dad, that was great too. But I remember as we did that, we cleared the ring, we hit the ring, and I think they clogged the ropes. We couldn't get in, so Dad sent us around, and we three-way hit the ring, all three different angles, and cleared the ring. And Terry Gordy scooted outside and grabbed one of the chairs and stomped it. He always did that. He stomped it so there'd be jagged edges on it and threw it into the ring, and Dad didn't see it. It was coming right at his head. And I dove like I was blocking a pass, defensive back. And the thing it cut my finger all the way to the bone. It almost cut it halfway off.
Oh, man.
And the match is just starting, and I have white pants on. And Dad says, "What the hell are you doing down on the ground? Get up." And I said, "Dad, you almost got brained with that chair." Anyway, it was funny that you said that. It made me thought of that. But I had blood all over those pants from my cut from that thing.
Man, did your dad eventually appreciate it? Did he see the video and he's like, okay, good job?
After the battle was over.
Okay.
We're in the middle of it right now, and everything's going on here.
We'll talk.
Well, it's the timing of you being here is really awesome because in about an hour or so, we're going to have Mark Aguirre on. And so we're talking about like the two entities, maybe along with the sidekicks, that were making Reunion Arena rock and roll in the 80s, especially with like the Christmas Star Wars and everything. But like, was there a connection between y'all and the Mavericks or the sidekicks or anything? Because y'all were all the hottest thing going in Metroplex.
Yeah, there were. We had, I love Cowboys, and Charlie Waters and Cliff Harris, we thought those two guys were great. And Calvin Hill back in those days, and Robert Newhouse, Roger Staubach, even Craig Morton back when I was a little kid. Loved all those guys, thought they were great. In fact, I read Roger Staubach's book, First Down, Lifetime to Go, and he had another one too. I think I read another book. That was Earl Morrall. I was going to be a quarterback, and I read all these books about quarterbacks, but he was... I looked up to him so much. What a hero that guy is.
So my wife worked for his real estate company for about 10 years, and I got to run across him many times. He was everything that I thought as a kid.
My daughter too. She worked in commercial real estate and met him a few times, but I never did. He was my hero though when I was a little boy.
We got to make that happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, how has that not happened?
At some point.
We need to figure that out.
Well, he's a busy man.
I've always we talk to a lot of former players, former athletes that look at their sport and they're like, it's not like it was when or it's not like this. What is it that you see in wrestling now that you're like, I never imagined that those characters could exist, or I never thought that this is better than I expected it to be, and it's grown into something better?
Well, that has happened. It's a big difference too. I don't mean to pump a little sunshine up my skirt, but in the old days, we wrestlers were. Unplugged my.
That's okay. We can still hear you. Yeah.
In the old days, my wrestlers were kind of glorified thugs. It's pretty much that's how it was. And I did a few commercials, but really it was kind of like, I remember I did a commercial for a tape deck in a car, and they wanted me to eat a cake shaped like a tape deck, because that was the idea of wrestlers. We were big brutes, that ate tape decks and stuff like that, But nowadays, it's so different. I mean, all the guys got drunk. Usually, a lot of the wrestlers got drunk after the show or had a few beers, on the way to the next town. That's where all the big bellies come from, I think, to tell the truth. But my brothers and I were really never like that. We didn't, we looked at it like wanted to be the best we could be. My dad was the best. And that's the way it is now. You go to the dressing room back there, these wrestlers aren't at all like the old days. These guys, if you were to offer them drugs, they'd fight. I mean, these guys are devoted athletes, and they don't want anything getting in their way of being better, getting better each day.
Yeah,
and that's what they do. I'm a coach there, I'm a consultant, and these guys are hungry. You teach them, they already know a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of these guys are up kind of where I am. I can give them tips on some things, but pretty much just polish.
Yeah. Do you feel better about the wrestler's safety also going to and being in the ring? Because I know everyone loved you guys, but there were many a time where I thought somebody in the crowd might stab a Freebird.
I got stabbed. They were trying to stab Gino one night, and I was up in the far stands where Gino went, and thought it was a cigarette burn right on my butt, and so I get to the back, and I look at my boot. I was wearing boots back then, and every time I'd step, little blood bubbles would come up from the shoestring holes, from my boot, and it was somebody had stabbed me, and that hot blood had run down my leg and was in my boot, and that was they were trying to hit Gino, I'm sure.
That's how you know you're tough, though. He got stabbed, and
it
he
was
was
a
like,
cigarette burn,
it could have been something
and it's
else.
fine. You need to check it out.
Do you ever? I know crowds get enthusiastic, and I love that enthusiasm. But do you ever just a tiny bit miss that level of like there could be a full blown actual riot at any moment?
Many times, we were out in the Caribbean. It was in Grenada, and those two, Trinidad and Tobago. And I think it was Trinidad, and we had a show there, and a lot of the fans couldn't afford the ticket, and so they were outside the arena and started throwing rocks into the arena where the people were, and it got worse and worse after that. We had a boxer that was a guest referee, and the crowd started getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and the heels beating up the good guy, and in they came. And the cops had to shoot 2 people.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they said no more wrestling in Trinidad after that.
That
dude.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Yeah. And then I was hoping you could recap it. You've told us this story before, but still a political hot button. But just how big WCCW and y'all were in Israel, especially because for people who don't know this story, this is amazing to me.
Well, Israel is a beautiful place. The people are so wonderful there. I mean, brothers and sisters, a sense of family is just so big there.
And you got to take your boys there a few years back, right?
Yeah, I took my boys when they were young as children, but then they've gone to work there since, to work a couple times. It started a little operation of local Israeli wrestlers there, And,
wow.
But the beautiful thing about it is that there are more Arabs than Jews actually in Israel, and they sit together, love wrestling. I mean, they don't. You can hand that to wrestling because I actually had Mr. Perez, Shimon Perez, told me that they have the only time there was actually a ceasefire is when wrestling was on.
Wow.
Wow. That is unbelievable to me.
That is
hard
crazy.
to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely believe it, but it's just wild to think about like the things that bring us together and unfortunately the things that can tear us apart, of course.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm always curious about in ring, what's going on, what you're thinking, what you're doing. What is the key to wrestling a man bigger than you? Because you had a difference. You were a different wrestler.
It's all in your head. It really is. I think that, because it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Absolutely.
And you get in there and do your best, and once you've jolted him a few times, he knows you're dangerous, and he gives you room, but at first he'll be all over you, since you're smaller than he is. And so that's kind of now my sons are pretty dang big.
Yeah, they are.
A giant.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
And they have chopped me, so
Yeah,
I'm very
tough.
aware.
Yeah, I have gotten the claw. It is it's fun.
Yeah, you have to.
Intimidating.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah, it's a great business, and with the wrestlers too, they're like kids, I mean, to me, they're children. I want to kiss them sometimes, like my boys. But the new champion is this MJF, and Maxwell Friedman.
Jacob Friedman, yes.
Yeah, he was in the Iron Claw movie, I think. If you ask me, I think he would have made a better Ric Flair than the other guy, to tell the truth.
He has a mouth on him. We had him on.
He has a mouth.
Yeah, there was a lot of great casting in that movie. The Ric Flair one, I feel like maybe we didn't get that one quite right.
Yeah, I think they missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
And if I may say, nothing against the actors. They're really nice guys. The guy that played Kerry, should have played somebody else, and because it didn't really you didn't see Kerry in that, and also now, after watching the movie, I've never danced a dance in my life. I don't feel dancing, but
So
Zac Efron, he dances and stuff.
yeah, and then Jeremy Allen White, I believe, is who was Carrie. No, I talked to your sons afterwards, because we all got to go to the movie premiere, and they were like, it is a little weird seeing your parents' love story or however you want to talk about it, and they're like, there's that moment in the truck that you're like, I didn't totally need to see that in the movie form or anything like that. That's really how are the boys doing? Marshall and Ross, by the way, they were Ring of Honor 6-man champions for more than a year before Dustin Rhodes had to have his double knee surgery, so they've had a lot of success in Ring of Honor and trickled over into AEW as well. How are the boys doing?
They're doing great, just great. Funny little, how up here they're getting some rain, but down in San Antonio it's really been dry, and we live about 35 miles north of San Antonio in Sisterdale, and so they're driving home the other day, and big grass fire, and out there when it's windy, everybody pulls over to help.
Right.
Grass fire. So Marcia and Ross are out there, and they were trying to keep the fire from getting into some trees, and Marshall almost got passed out in that fire.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
And the next night he had to wrestle. It was 2 nights later he had to wrestle. Man, he had some damage to his lungs, got so tired in that ring, and all my boys are top shape. They don't.
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen him, yeah.
But he evidently damaged the alveoli in his lungs a little bit,
Wow.
And so he's over it now, but gosh.
Trying to do something heroic.
Well, it's like, out there, everybody helps when a fire comes, Gosh, Pam and I even helped put a fire out one time.
It's unbelievable. The layers upon layers of stories are just incredible. Now
I get to reach out to my father-in-law and let him know that Kevin Von Erich lives nearby. He lives in Spring Branch, right over by Bulverde.
Spring Branch,
yeah. He lives in Spring Branch area, so he'll be very excited.
Yeah, what a growing area.
It is awesome.
And somebody just texted in and said they still have a picture of you holding them on their shoulders. How cool is it to hear all those people come back around and they're like, I have this picture, I have this autograph, or I have this whatever memory from you guys?
It's like a two-edged sword in a way. I mean, but for me, I love that because I've had a lot of concussions, and like I was making a joke the other day, I can watch like an old movie that I saw maybe 10 years ago, and
right.
to me it's almost a new movie.
Oh, wow.
My concussions, I think,
That was interesting. I enjoyed that.
Now, you mentioned
For me, Kevin, it's been very difficult not to mention, like, you were my hero growing up. Like that's been the thing of just, I'm sure you hear that a lot. And I know, but I know as what we do, it's a really good feeling to know that you made a little impact on somebody, and you were.
Thanks. It's an important job. It really is. I hear guys say that it's not our responsibility to raise their children or football players or whatever, but it's really, I don't think a lot of guys think like that anymore because if you're on television, you do have a responsibility. We try to say yes, sir, and no, sir on the air and kind of give some values out there because remember, those were the days with latchkey kids.
Yes.
Both parents have to work. It's not like the old days where dad works and there's still enough money to go on vacation and invest. Now, both parents have to work and there's no money to invest anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the way that all started, and so we knew there's latchkey kids, and they may not be getting this, and I think God put His hand on us because we wanted to do right, In fact, you guys, I don't want to throw you off here, but we used to, before we did our show on Channel 39, the World Class Wrestling Show, we'd have a prayer meeting with the cameramen, the directors, and everybody. And the wrestlers, and we all prayed that God make it a great show. I'm telling you. It worked.
I freaking
made an
love
impression.
that.
It definitely did.
Yeah, absolutely. So much so that I'm going to warn you in the break. Another one of our stations wants to know if you can stick around and talk with them. But I need to make sure to plug the show tomorrow. It is the final date of the esports residency for AEW Collision. Like I said, Mark Briscoe defending the TNT Championship against Tommaso Ciampa, who just debuted on Dynamite on Wednesday. You got the Babes of Wrath putting up their tag team championships against the Sisters of Sin. It's been a really fun residency. Tomorrow, another chance for you to see AEW in Arlington. You can go to allelitewrestling.com or AEWtix.com. Kevin, thank you so much for jumping on with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I don't mind shooting the bull with you guys anytime.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.